Cats have lived with humans for over 10,000 years. And even so, most people who have one at home still don't know half of what this animal is capable of doing, feeling, and perceiving. Here are 30 fun facts that completely change the way you see your cat. 1. Cats cannot taste sweets. Terming 4. Unlike almost all other mammals, cats do not have sweet taste receptors on their tongues. They are genetically incapable of detecting sugar. Therefore, there's no point in offering cake, fruit, or anything sugary expecting a reaction. To them, it literally tastes like nothing. This happens because, as strict carnivores, sweetness was never relevant in their diet throughout evolution. 2. Every cat's nose is as unique as a fingerprint to an erger. The pattern of bumps and ridges on a cat's nose is unique. No cat in the world has the same one. It is the feline equivalent of a human fingerprint. Technically, it would be possible to identify an individual cat by its nose, just as we identify humans by their fingerprints. 3. Cats sleep between 12 and 16 hours a day, but rarely fall into a deep sleep. They can seem completely out cold while being partially alert at the same time. That is why any unusual noise makes them jump to their feet in seconds. Deep sleep, where the cat truly shuts down, represents only a small fraction of the total time they spend lying down. 4. They use meowing almost exclusively to talk to humans. Adult cats practically do not meow at each other. The meow is a form of communication they developed specifically to interact with people. Among themselves, communication happens through scent, posture, and body language. The fact that your cat meows at you is, in practice, them adapting their language to be understood by you. 5. Purring can heal bones. MEOW. The vibration frequency of a cat's purr falls between 25 and 150 Hz, a range that studies associate with the accelerated healing of bones and tissues. Cats purr when they are happy, but also when they are in pain, stressed, or recovering from something. In this sense, purring works as a self-healing mechanism. 6. Cats have a 200-degree field of vision. The COS. The human field of vision is approximately 180 degrees. A cat's reaches 200. This means they see more of their surrounding environment without needing to move their head. The trade-off is that their near vision is not as precise. Cats are somewhat nearsighted when it comes to very close objects, but they can see movement at a distance with impressive accuracy. 7. They can't see well what is right in front of their nose. Mirrored. There is a blind spot right under a cat's nose. That is why when you throw a little ball and it stops right in front of them, they seem not to see it. It is not distraction, it is a real limitation of their near vision. Whiskers kick in exactly to compensate for this. They work as spatial sensors for everything within the radius that their eyes cannot reach well. 8. Whiskers measure space. A cat's whiskers are approximately the same width as their body. This is no coincidence. They function as a measuring instrument. Before entering any tight space, the cat uses its whiskers to calculate if its body will fit. Furthermore, whiskers are connected to the nervous system and pick up variations in air pressure, which helps the cat detect objects and movements even without seeing them directly. 9. Cats have an extra vertebra in their spine. 4. The absurd flexibility of a cat, that ability to bend, squeeze, and contort themselves into seemingly impossible positions, comes from a spine with more vertebrae than a human's, and with much more elastic intervertebral discs. This is also what allows their righting reflex. In a free fall, the cat can twist its body in the air and land on its feet most of the time, even when falling from considerable heights. 10. They walk by placing their hind paws exactly where their front paws stepped. A reflex. When a cat walks, its hind paws land almost in the exact same spot where the front ones were. This minimizes noise and avoids twigs, leaves, and unstable surfaces, because the front paws have already tested the ground. It is a remnant of their hunting instinct that exists even in cats that have never stepped outside an apartment. 11. Cats drink water in a way that defies physics. Mares. When a cat drinks water, its tongue does not form a spoon like a dog's. It quickly touches the surface of the water and creates a column of liquid that the cat catches in its mouth before gravity pulls it back down. This movement happens 4 times a second. It was only discovered in detail when researchers filmed it in slow motion. It is impossible to see with the naked eye. 12. An orange cat is almost always male. Approximately 80% of orange-furred cats are male. This happens because the gene responsible for the orange color is linked to the X chromosome. Females need 2 X chromosomes with the orange gene to have this color, which is much less genetically probable. Males only need 1. Therefore, female orange cats do exist, but they are statistically rare. 13. Cats have a more developed long-term memory than it seems. Studies show that cats have a functional long-term memory. They recognize people, places, and routines after months or even years of separation. The difference is that they don't show it the same way a dog would. A cat that seems indifferent to your return after a long trip hasn't forgotten you. They simply process and demonstrate recognition in a much more subtle way. 14. Cats can make about 100 different sounds. Dogs produce an average of 10 distinct sounds. Cats produce about 100. This includes variations of meowing, purring, trilling, hissing, chattering, that weird noise they make when they see a bird through the window, and several others. Each sound carries a different piece of information, and owners who live with the same cat for years usually learn to distinguish a good portion of them intuitively. 15. No human domesticated the cat. It was the other way around, ma chère. Most domestic animals were genetically selected and modified by humans over generations, not the cat. They approached human settlements on their own, attracted by the rodents that lived near grain stores, and gradually tolerated human presence because it was advantageous. Today's domestic cat is genetically almost identical to the wild cat. They were not domesticated, they chose to stay. 16. Cats have a sensory organ that humans do not have. Notte. On the roof of a cat's mouth is Jacobson's organ, also called the vomeronasal organ. When a cat slightly opens its mouth with that weird expression, as if it were disgusted by something, it isn't disgusted. It is using this organ to analyze scents much more deeply than the nose allows. It's as if they have a second olfactory system dedicated exclusively to complex chemical information, like pheromones. 17. The ideal temperature for a cat is much higher than for a human. Kaihol. Cats feel comfortable in temperatures between 30 and 38 degrees Celsius, well above what most humans would consider pleasant. This explains their obsession with the sun, heaters, blankets, and laps. Their bodies came from the desert, and this internal thermostat was never readjusted. A cat that seems to be literally melting in the sun is not hot. It is exactly where it wants to be. 18. Cats do not meow the same way in different cultures, and this is learned. Swedish researchers discovered that the sounds cats make to communicate with humans vary according to the region and the language spoken by their owners. Swedish cats and English cats, for example, produce different melodic patterns in their meows. This suggests that part of a cat's vocal communication with humans is learned through imitation. They observe their owner's speech patterns and adapt their own sounds. 19. Cats have 3 eyelids. Besides the 2 normal eyelids, cats have a third eyelid, called the nictitating membrane, located in the inner corner of the eye. It usually doesn't show, but when it does, that whitish film in the corner of the eye, it's usually a sign that the cat is sick, stressed, or very relaxed. In completely comfortable cats, it may slightly appear during deep sleep. 20. A cat's heart beats almost twice as fast as a human's. Inlinded. A resting cat's heart beats between 140 and 220 times per minute. A human's resting heart beats between 60 and 100. This reflects the accelerated metabolism of an animal that needs to be ready for quick bursts of energy at any moment. It is also why cats age differently. Their internal rhythm is fundamentally faster. 21. Cats can survive falls from impressive heights. Coppedage. There is a phenomenon called feline terminal velocity. In falls from great heights, a cat reaches a maximum falling speed, and at that point, its body relaxes, unlike humans, who tense up. This relaxation, combined with their righting reflex in the air, better distributes the impact. There are documented records of cats surviving falls from over 30 stories. 22. Cats use their tails as an instrument for balance and communication at the same time. A cat's tail is not just an extension of its body, it is an active balance instrument during runs and jumps, and also one of their main channels for emotional communication. A vertically raised tail means confidence and greeting. A puffed-up tail means fear or threat. A slowly waving tail means focus. A tail quickly thumping on the ground means growing irritation. Each position tells a different story. 23. Cats have an instinct to hide weakness that can be dangerous to their health. In the wild, showing pain or illness attracts predators. Because of this, cats hide signs of suffering instinctively and very efficiently. A cat can be seriously ill and continue to behave seemingly normally for days or weeks. This causes health problems to often be identified only when they are already in an advanced stage. It is one of the reasons why regular veterinary checkups are so important, even when the cat seems to be perfectly fine. 24. A cat's snout is always cold and wet, and that serves a purpose. Night. A cat's wet nose isn't just a physical characteristic. The moisture increases olfactory sensitivity, helping to catch and dissolve scent molecules in the air much more efficiently. A dry and warm nose can be a sign of dehydration, fever, or a health condition that deserves attention. It is one of the first physical indicators veterinarians check during a quick assessment. 25. Cats sleep in high places out of a survival instinct. Cats' preference for high places, cabinets, shelves, refrigerators, is not a whim. In the wild, height means safety. Larger predators usually don't reach up there, and from above it's possible to observe the entire environment without being seen. When your cat climbs onto the highest cabinet in the house and looks down at you, it is exercising this ancient instinct. The apartment is its territory, and it wants the highest vantage point of that territory. 26. Cats have a paw preference. Just as humans have a hand preference, just as humans are right-handed or left-handed, cats have a dominant paw. Studies show that females tend to be right-handed and males tend to be left-handed, although there are individual variations. You can identify your cat's dominant paw by observing which one it uses first to reach for something, or to take the first step in a new situation. 27. Cats recognize their owner's voice, but frequently choose to ignore it. Research shows that cats can accurately distinguish their owner's voice among unknown voices. The difference is that, unlike dogs, they rarely respond in a visible way. Behavioral studies have recorded that cats move their ears or heads slightly upon hearing their owner, but they do not show it obviously. They heard, they recognized, they simply decided it wasn't necessary to react. 28. Cats can drink seawater in small amounts. A cat's kidneys are efficient enough to filter salt water in small amounts, something humans cannot do. This doesn't mean seawater is ideal for them, but it reflects their organism's adaptation to arid environments where freshwater sources were scarce. The cat's renal system is one of the most highly concentrated among domestic mammals. 29. Chattering, that noise cats make when seeing birds, still intrigues scientists. 20s. When a cat sees a bird or insect through the window and starts making that rapid, choppy noise with its jaw, no one is absolutely sure why. The most widely accepted theory is that it's a reaction of frustration towards an unreachable prey, combined with an involuntary simulation of the biting movement that would be used to kill. Another theory suggests it might be an attempt to imitate the sound of prey to attract them. After all these years of studying cats, this behavior still lacks a definitive explanation. 30. Cats live much longer when they stay indoors. The average life expectancy of a cat that lives exclusively indoors is 12 to 18 years. Cats with outdoor access have an average life expectancy of 5 to 7 years. The difference is huge, and it stems from factors like accidents, diseases transmitted by other animals, predators, and poisoning. This doesn't mean an outdoor cat lives poorly. It means the external environment significantly multiplies the risks, and that the indoor environment, when properly enriched, is enough for a long and healthy life.